Welcome everyone, Costin here with a very quick guide for Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 and how to really get going in this game. So as you finish the tutorial area, you should be able to have some very basic armor, some gear, and crucially a weapon, a hunting sword. You will be able to pick this up from the beginning portion of the game. And a couple of groschen that one of the beggars will actually give you, funnily enough. Anyway, so there's a decent amount of gear you can start with, but obviously it is very, very little compared to what you can get. You can earn some groschen by playing dice with a badge, without a badge, get an extra badge, 10 badge. But that in itself is going to be a very slow process. And earning money in a quote-unquote honest way is not necessarily the fastest way of playing the game. So you are going to want to do a couple of things. There is a chest over here in the graveyard. East of Troskovitz, there is this graveyard, and there is this chest that has some very useful things. But you will not be able to lockpick this early on. You could kill the gravedigger for the key of this, or you could just steal the shovel. Or you could try and rob the gravedigger. But I'm not going to go down that specific path over here with regards to the game. Instead, you just want that shovel. You could go kill the gravedigger. Like, the thing about this area is that there's no one here, so you could technically kill the gravedigger and then literally dig a grave for him and then hide his body so that you don't get discovered. I think that is possible. There is even a grave over here that might be ready for that. But I would probably not recommend doing that. There are consequences for doing that. So being a criminal is not necessarily worth it. However, you do want to come over here and you do want to rob some of the stuff that's very easy because the lockpick is going to be very easy to break. So open this up. And you want to lockpick these very easy locks. Because that will give you the experience you need to eventually get the harder stuff. Like, it is a process. You're not really interested in anything over here. You're just interested in some of the lockpicking experience. But really, what you want here is the shovel. That is all. So, what do you do with that shovel? Well, you then head over to roughly this location and you will find a bandit camp as well as certain other things that you can take advantage of. But you do want that shovel. Now, over in this location, there is a camp by the road. There might be some bandits over here that you could try and kill and pick up some of their stuff, including a bow. That is what I did. It is randomized, however, with regards to that. What isn't randomized, however, are a set of graves. You can find the location from the bailiff, who is right here, roughly, give or take. And if you talk with him, and this game really will reward you for talking with people, getting information from them. This is one of the reasons you don't just want to murder people. It will affect your reputation. People won't be willing to talk with you. You'll piss everyone off. You'll be hunted down. Yeah, just don't play like a dumbass. But anyway, with that shovel, there are a set of graves over here that will contain some useful starting equipment that you can actually use. Right here. So, if we look at this, we get a mace, we get a padded coif, and we get a shield. Having a shield is pretty useful. It really helps you out in terms of survivability. So, you do want to pick up all of this stuff. By the way, just a bit of a recommendation. Get a mod that increases your carrying capacity. It is just one of those very annoying factors, because otherwise you will have to do a lot of traversing back and forth, because you will not have a horse from the very beginning. So yeah, we get all this gear. You can sell this, or you can repair these things, or rather repair the axe. The shields are in pretty decent condition, or at least one of them is in decent condition. And that is some gear that you can start with and also sell some of this gear to get yourself some early game money. That and also playing dice for this gear. So just, again, go to the graveyard, to the cemetery, go to these 2 graves over here, and that will give you a good enough starting point with regards to the game. Also, allow you to pick up some flowers. There's, of course, different skills that you do want to level up. So you do want to do various things, like playing dice can actually increase your agility, vitality, all these kind of things, doing stealth, etc. But the more you do something, the better off, the better you're going to be with regards to it. Now, with that sorted out, you want to actually go for either the miller or the blacksmith. Though I would recommend going for both, because both of them are going to give you quests, and both of them are going to teach you very, very useful skills. But I would probably start with the blacksmith, because he will teach you how to do smithing. And, crucially, he will give you a bed. Now, the reason this is useful is, well, if you have the Deluxe Edition, right, you can get some of the gear from the chest over here, but you can also save at the bed location, which obviously is useful. You can save... you have one save available when you quit the game, so you do get that one save. Keep in mind, there's just one save. But one of the reasons I do like coming over here to this specific area is you might be able to actually rob certain people right here. So there's certain things that are very, very easy to get, and there's also a horse. Now, stealing a horse, not necessarily recommended to do it, especially if you get caught with it. But here there's only one guard, so if you don't get seen doing it, no one will care about it, and you eventually abandon the horse. It's not about keeping the horse, it's about having a means of transportation very quickly early on. So, for instance, I would take that horse and I would go, over here in these locations to, try and find mutt, to maybe see tomcat, all that kind of stuff. That kind of stuff. Of course, it's also important to have food, but there are various things you can do with regards to that. But now, let's talk a bit about sneaking. You will get a lockpick very early on, so that's something you can use. And you can also make Savior Schnapps, by the way, fairly easy as well, like at least some kind of version. The ingredients aren't really too difficult to acquire. But anyway, with regards to robbing people, funnily enough, it's actually not really about like not being seen by them. It's about using the night in your favor. Don't go crazy though with trying to rob people, because that will genuinely hurt you. But this village where the blacksmith is actually a great location to actually rob. Like, you could try and knock out someone right here, but what you're interested in is trying to take certain things from them. So, for instance, the way this works is you have to hold down the button. I'd recommend having a save before this. Hold down the button to be able to get this duration. So this gives you a couple. And dependent on how much you spend over there or how aware they are, you might be able to get some things. The most useful things you can get early on are like groschen, dice, and keys. So keys will allow you to open all of these chests, and you'll be able to take various things from people. But the way this works is you hold this down after 2 seconds as you hold it down, you will be able to go through their stuff. But you don't want this to get too red. And this might take some attempts, but this will help level up your skill. You can obviously lockpick these chests as well if you so desire, improve your skill. So just doing some lockpicking. Just be mindful that they might hear it. Yeah, that's something that can work in your favor. Though funnily enough, in this entire location... Oh. Like for instance, just me getting those groschen. And then, yeah. There we go. So I got some groschen over there. Not quite sure how much because I already had some of it. But you can steal a lot of things. Again, just things like dice, badges. A silver badge can actually be pretty expensive to acquire otherwise. Okay, so that's all well and good. In terms of money, equipment, armor, all that. Professions, pretty simple. Like the tutorials are very, very solid in that respect. But yeah, I would recommend robbing people. Don't be too crazy though. And certainly don't try and get caught. With regards to that. You only get caught if you push it too hard. And I say this as someone who played quite a bit of the first game. Been playing quite a few hours in this game. If you get caught, you fucked up. More or less. That's one of the reasons you want to steal things in locations where you have a bed, because you can use that as a save point, or you can make a save point and quit the game and restart it. Or you can get a mod that allows you to save whenever the heck you want, really. Or have a bunch of save your schnapps. So if the developers were thinking, oh, we want people to stick to their choices, I'm like, yeah, not really. With regards to all of that. Obviously, you don't want your reputation to suffer, people. So don't steal everything, because you won't be able to sell everything. Like, there's no point in stealing very valuable things if you can't then sell those valuable things. Like that gravedigger I mentioned earlier, he has a whole bunch of really expensive stuff in that chest. There's almost no point in stealing it because you will not be able to use it. And besides, unless you literally rob him of his key and then use that to open the chest, yeah, all I can say is good luck with regards to all of that. But let me talk about a horse, because that will require you to go to Semin. Now, for a horse, you'll want to come over here to Semin, which is southwest of Troskovitz, but you first may want to go to Tachov to the blacksmith. There's reasons for that. But anyway, just talk over here with the groom, and you can take notice of Pebbles, which is the horse you actually rode on in the initial portion. And dependent on how you look, dependent on the quality of your clothes, armor, like for instance, I'm wearing a bunch of stolen stuff, but I'll get into that in just a second.
Who sold her to you? I told someone in Europe he had this, but I couldn't.
Yeah, but
Well, and you think for a few... All right, bloody mice. Go and get if she
okay. So that will be your horse, and you will not... You can buy her if you fail the check over there, but you will also get a saddle and a damaged leather bridle. So that is a very basic horse. Now, horses don't just allow you to move around the map faster, but they also allow you to traverse... Ignore that for a moment. But they will also allow you to get, with fast travel, faster if you are mounted. So a bit of an important point with regards to that. Now, if you want a good way of earning early game money, provided you're willing to get your hands dirty, so to speak, there are ways around that. And the best way to do so is in Troskovitz. You don't need to have any kind of special skill or anything like that. You wait until it's midnight over here in Troskovitz. Ignore that quest. Now, ideally, you're not going to want to wear armor, because armor makes noise. So just unequip a lot of it. It doesn't have to be everything, pretty much. Just enough so that you're not making any real noise over here. You go through the same tavern where you started the game. You can rob people in this tavern when people are asleep. You can also steal some food to feed yourself. But that's not really the most important point. What is important is what you can do over here. Now, you can enter this location through multiple ways. Like, you could, move past the guard over there. But what you want to do, you might need to practice a bit of lockpicking, but even if you haven't practiced anything, you could probably pull this off one way or another. Again, just make sure you don't have things equipped that could make noise. Including a sword. Also, when you're doing a bunch of lockpicking, you just want to make sure that you leave the doors closed behind you. Be thorough. I'm not sure if it makes that much of a difference. But what you got over here are the guards. What you're after, though, is possibly the guard commander, provided you can actually find them. And what you're looking for, regardless, though, is a key. That will allow you to open a bunch of these chests and steal some of these groschen, so you can get yourself a bunch of equipment. But what you're interested, again, leave the doors closed. There's also a guard commander. There's also the bailiff somewhere. They do change location where they're actually sleeping. But funnily enough, I find that if you can steal a set of keys, you probably can unlock most of the doors. But what you're interested is this building right here. Because this, while it is very hard, it does contain a bunch of very, very good stuff. So chainmail gauntlets. And these will probably replenish over time. So, I would not necessarily steal everything. The reason you want a horse for this is obviously the weight of every damn thing. I'd also recommend coming in over here with very, very little in the first place. But yeah. So we got, chainmail gauntlets, all that. Now, obviously, these are stolen goods, considered stolen goods right now. But with these things, you can go over here to Tachov, where you can get a bed very, very easily. Because you come over here, you talk to the blacksmith, you show your worth, he'll give you a bed. And with this bed, you can save, and in a couple of days, if we look at the inventory stuff. So you don't want to equip stuff that's stolen, right? But in a couple of days, the stolen items will become perfectly normal items, which you then can sell. So if I sleep over here, now of course there is a limit to, you know, sleeping. I'm gonna have some issues with regards to food, but I can handle that. So it might take a couple of in-game days. To actually really get it done. But once you do get it done, over here I'm just gonna go buy some food too, because yeah, I can obviously afford it. You don't want to end up without any food, by the way.
Jesus Christ. How can I help you?
That is a really, really bad idea.
Thank you.
Also, if you don't haggle with people, they'll actually like that if you accept the price that they give you.
Take care.
So your reputation will start increasing. So let me just take a look over there. So you can see that the chainmail gauntlets are no longer considered stolen. Now, those helmets are still considered stolen, to be sure, but you can then go over here to the blacksmith and trade with him some of the stuff you've picked up. That is a really good way of making a lot of money for yourself. So over here, actually that's just a buying menu, but yeah, we can come over here, we get 43. It isn't going to be a huge amount of money, to be sure. Depends on the item. You may also benefit from repairing some of the items you're picking up, but in general, the best way to get money is get gear, sell the gear. That is how you get a good amount of money. Also, you'll probably want to get a better horse at one point or another. So just taking advantage of the situation would be really worth it. That's all I had to say. Costin signing out. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and enable notifications. Stay tuned for more.